With the CARES Act expiring and unemployment benefits going away, last weekend, President Trump signed a handful of executive orders to try and extend some version of unemployment benefits. But the question still remains whether or not they will still take effect while Congress works on its own plan. So here to break down some of it for us and help us navigate these waters, Graham Williams from Optimist Retirement. Thanks for joining us as always, Graham.
Good morning, Nohe.
So let's talk a little bit first about the executive orders and what they mean.
Well, so the president was basically watching the Congress, both the Democrats and the Republicans, haggling over this issue of what to pass. We have two acts. The HEROES Act is the Democratic program, and the HEALS Act is the Republican. They're far apart in terms of what they're going to offer. So the president on Saturday, as you said, signed executive orders which would extend the federal unemployment benefit of it's going to be $400 a week, and some additional help to renters considering evictions and so on. There is an issue, though, about the legality of this. Can the president actually do this through executive orders? So that's being hashed out as we speak.
And also, it's important to note that with the assistance for unemployment benefits, it's lower. It was $600, now it would be $400, with states footing part of that bill. And also,
Right.
the tax relief is not a forgiveness, it's just putting it off again.
Right. Payroll taxes could be suspended, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to pay them back in the end.
So as we look at the two differences there and we wait to see how this does hash out, people still have to plan. They have to have a couple of contingency plans. One, no money comes in, or one version of these comes in. So what do you do to get yourself through?
I have a few things I think people should look at immediately. First of all, I mean, we're all being forced to look at our budgets. So we want to look at our budgets and see if we're running ahead or behind. And if we are running behind, where are we making up the difference and where could we cut some of our expenses? So you want to look at all your fixed expenses. Variable expenses is where you can cut. I think it's really important to look at that in regard to the second item, which is your savings, okay? Because if you're drawing on savings, then a lot of people will be drawing on savings, but also they may be using credit cards and other forms of debt, okay? So this is not a good place to go in terms of building up credit card debt at this time, if you can avoid it. So a couple things you could look at. There is an opportunity this year under the CARES Act to take a distribution from your retirement plan. It could be up to $100,000 from a 401k or IRA, and you won't have to pay the additional traditional 10% penalty. Another idea is you can also get a loan against those accounts, and that may be better because you don't have to pay tax on the money you receive from a loan, and then you can pay it back. I want to say these two things because I think this is really important on the third point, which is looking at your debt. Right now, if you have good cash flow, is actually a very good time to be getting out of debt because interest rates are very low. So if you're paying on a mortgage, or if you could refinance and help your cash flow there, that would be very strategic right now with interest rates at historically low levels. The other thing I want to advise people to think about is don't damage your credit in this difficult time. Do whatever you can to preserve your credit, because that's going to become important later when things get back to normal.
Yeah, if we're talking about debt, I know people are having a hard time paying off some of those credit cards, but if you were going to try and choose between some of them, what would be the most important to focus on?
Right. Well, we have some budget planners on our website at optimistretirement.com. And one of the interesting tools that I like is debt management tools that use what we call an avalanche, where what we do is we look at all of our debts and we look at the interest rates we're paying, and we try and pay the highest interest rates off first. This is why I mentioned if it's possible to refinance and take higher interest rate debt and move it to home-based debt, that would be a very strategic move right now. I know mortgage lenders are overwhelmed with applications, but you should be pursuing this if you can, because we want to gradually pay off the highest interest debt first. That's called an avalanche. It's the best way to get out of debt as fast as possible.
At least we can do just a little bit of something even when times are tough.
Absolutely.
Graham Williams from Optimist Retirement, always helpful information. And I know you mentioned that website so that people can go there. Thank you for your time and walking us through some of this.
Thank you, Nohe.